That's thunderbolt, Ankus, elephant, goad. All these signs are in their lotus feet of the Lord. And then slowly one rises and goes at the end towards face of the Lord. Hasam Hare Ravatana Kilelo Kativra Sukasu Sagar Vishoshana Mattodaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Nijamaya Yassa Bhrumandalam Munikite Makaradhajasya. One meditates on the smile of the Lord, on the eyebrows of the Lord. So different features of the face. So this is called limb by limb meditation, that is called dhyana. And samadhi means same meditation when it is done for very, very long time, then it's called samadhi. Now, depending on one's understanding of the goal, one may get different destination. So one gets Brahman realization, means one understands that I am not body, I am soul. Or one realizes that I am in body, I am not the body. Like we have realization, I am in room, not the room. So that's called Brahman realization. After that, one practices Sat Chakra Yoga. See, Sat Chakra Yoga is a mechanical process after one has got the realization. Nowadays, you will find people start teaching Sat Chakra Yoga from beginning only. And what to say of meditating on Paramatma, your heart is not pure, you can't do anything. So people nowadays, that what they are doing is totally topsy-turvy. So one meditates from Mooladhara Chakra, Agya Chakra, and then Brahmarandra is there. Thus, it cracks open and soul can leave and go to the desired destination. And these destinations depend on what you understand to be the goal of life. It depends on that. So there can be different destinations. For example, somebody thinks that I am Paramatma. After meditating on Paramatma, he becomes a Mayavadi. So followers of Patanjali, they start thinking I am only that Vishnu. So Sarvam Bhattacharya and Chaitanya Charitamrita condemn such people, saying that they are worse than Mayavadis. At least worse, Mayavadis want to become one with God, they want to become person God. So they are condemned. So they are handed over to Maya Devi and they undergo repeated birth and death. Now, second category of the people are the people who think that ultimate goal is Brahman. So they follow the painful process of withdrawing their consciousness from Paramatma and they focus it on Brahman. So then they get Brahman. They get liberation from Brahman. Third category of people are the ones who become attracted to Paramatma and then they want to stay with Paramatma. So then they are the people who go to three Paramatmas. Karanodaksha Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu, Chirodaksha Vishnu. So you'll find many times near Vishnu, Lord Vishnu's photograph, you will find yogis are there. So who are these yogis? These are the yogis. So they are generally Santras Bhaktas. And then there are fourth category of people who want to go to Vaikuntha planets. They consider that as goal of life. So they can go to that place also. So it totally depends on one's Sambandha Gyan, what one thinks to be goal of life, and one reaches there. So the liberation will be different for different people, depending on what is their concept. But nowadays, people don't understand this whole process. They do all nonsense in the name of yoga. And things are totally topsy-turvy. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam you are asking. So Srimad Bhagavatam, this is in second canto. So just a minute. Okay, what is happening is it's 2.1.15 to 2.2.32. 2.1.15 to 2.2.32. Okay. So these are sloka numbers. So totally depends on one's conception. Now we'll talk about Paramatma. When you are focusing on Paramatma, but again, remember, one can focus on Paramatma only when one is free from material desires. Otherwise, what happens is, one tries to meditate, one will meditate on material desires only. If you remember, I gave one example where some boy was asking one Swamiji Swamiji, whenever I try to meditate, I just meditate on opposite sex. What should I do? Swami said, don't worry. Let the mind go wherever it wants. Mind will go and go and go and go and go. Become tired. And then you can control the mind. Problem is we become tired. Mind doesn't become tired. That is why we get dreams. So unless and the heart is pure, there is no question of meditation. One will just meditate on material desires. And that's why you'll find many people, they say that no, our process is smarnam. If you don't hear about someone, how can you meditate on him? So you'll find in Vrindavan there's a big temple of one particular personality. He says, no, we don't do Shravan Kirtan, we do Smarnam. If you don't know about someone, what will you think about him? That's why first comes Shravan Kirtan, then comes Smarnam. So that's why Krishna will not now talk about Paramatma on whom one is supposed to meditate. So we'll read verse number 9 and 10, and then I'll tell it together. Together we'll talk about the process. Kavim Puranam Anusasitaram Anayor Aniyam Samanusamaredya Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varanam Tamasa Parastat. Please read the translation.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is the smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature. Hare Krishna.
Hare. So I'll take one more verse, then I'll take it together. Prayana kale manasa chalena bhaktya yukto yoga balena cheva bhruvor madhye pranam avesya samyak satam param purusam upayati divyam. Please read this also.
One who, at the time of death, fixes his life air between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna.
So this is so whom to meditate on is given in text number 9, and what to do after that is given in text number 10. So what is the practice of yoga? First thing is withdraw your senses from sense objects. Then constantly think of the Lord. So then it becomes Yoga Mr. Bhakti. So this is explained in the 5 verses. So who is that Lord? Kavi. Kavi means omniscient. He knows everything. That means he knows our pains, pleasures, struggles, who we are, everything. People expect such relationships. Like now, among a husband and wife, or friend and friend, or mother and son, they expect that now one should know the heart. But only Krishna knows the heart, Kavi. Then Puranam. Puranam means that he is not like other Kavis, like 4 Kumaras, Satas Kumaras are the Kavi. Narad Muni is also Kavi, but he is the oldest Kavi. Aham eva sameva nanya desata sat param paschata aham edita yo avisisyat so asmi ham. So when nothing was there, Krishna was there. Lord Narayan was there. So Kavi Puranam. Then Anusasitaram. Anusasitaram means one who disciplines, and also it means a teacher. So Krishna is only teaching Bhagavad Gita, na? So he's a teacher. So Anusasitaram. Paramatma also from within he guides. Without he comes in the form of scriptures and the spiritual master. So Anusasitaram. Then Anyor Aniyamsam Mahato Mahina. Anyor Aniyamsam Anusamaredya. And also he's very difficult to know because he's smaller than the smallest and bigger than the biggest. So something very small we can't see. And Lord is so small that he's within every atom and between every atom. So small. And when it comes to big, my God, he's so big. Like Brahma he was always in front of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. He couldn't see only form of Vishnu because Vishnu, Garbhodaksha Vishnu is so big, so greater than the greatest. So great that everything is practically within him when it comes as Virat Rupa. Attatashta dasangulam. He's 10 angul, 10 fingers more than the universe. So big. And then Achinta Rupam. His form is inconceivable because that form is spiritual. It is not material. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives a very beautiful example. He says that Krishna's face, Krishna's eyes, etc. can be compared as to lotus. Namo Pankaj Nabhaya, Namo Pankaj Maline, Namo Pankaj Netraya, Namaste Pankaj Angre. But that's not the good comparison. Why it is not a good comparison? Because Krishna is much more beautiful than lotus. But since lotus is the most beautiful thing which we can conceive of, that's why we compare them to lotus. So that's why Lord is inconceivable. Achinta Rupam. But as a medium form, like something very small we can't see, something very big we can't see. But as a median person, he comes as Krishna, he comes as Ram, out of his causeless mercy, so that we can see him, we can conceive him. And then is Aditya Varnam. Aditya Varnam means he's like a luminous sun. This also comes in this Purusukta. Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parastat. So his color is like that of Aditya, like that of sun. Like sun reveals everything by sunlight. Similarly, the form of the Lord removes illusion. Forms in this world cause illusion, increase illusion. Like we see on any form, somebody's favorite actor, actresses, that entangles. That's illusory. Like Andhra people, they are fan of, I don't know, Andhra, at least Tamil Nadu people are fan of Rajinikanth. So different people have different fans, different states. But the point is that all other forms, all our material forms are illusory in the sense that it is ultimately stool, urine, pus and blood, which is nicely packed in the skin. Had skin been transparent, I don't know who would look beautiful in this world. You can imagine. Imagine someone with a transparent skin. So everything will be revealed, whatever is going on inside. So Brahmaji has put this little bit of color and things have changed. So that is how this form is entangling. It is illusory. But Krishna's form is liberating and it's luminous, like sun means it removes the ignorance in the heart of the living entity. Like if somebody meditates on the elephant goat sign of the lotus feet of Krishna, one gets rid of, one's mind is controlled. Somebody meditates on the thunderbolt sign in the lotus feet of Krishna, mountains of sins are destroyed. Somebody meditates on the nails of Krishna, one gets the knowledge of Upanishads. That's why we should meditate on the deity for a long time actually. Sometimes our devotees just go, push off. So when we go in front of deity, we should meditate on the deity. Because Krishna's form is, meditating on each limb of the form of the deity is very, very purifying. Somebody meditates on the smile of Krishna. Sokasru Sagar. What is that? Hasam Hare Ravatana Kilaloka Tivra Sokasru Sagar Vishoshanamattadaram Sammohanaya Rachitam Najamaya Yasya Bhru Mandalam Munikate Makaradhajasya. So Hasam Hare Ravatana Kilaloka Tivra Sokasru Sagar. After coming in this material world, living entity cries so many tears that ocean will be filled. But what happens as soon as one looks at the smile of Krishna, this entire ocean is immediately evaporated. Vishoshanam, it becomes evaporated. Sammohanaya rachitam nijamaya yasya. Bhrumandalam munikate makaradhajasya. And those munis who are trying to control their mind and senses become agitated by lust. So for them, Lord has created his eyebrows. If you meditate on Krishna's eyebrows, one can conquer lust. So that is how meditating on the form of the Lord is very, very powerful. So Aditya Varnam. And Tamasa Parastat means his form is beyond Maya. It's pare, it's beyond Maya. After that, fixing one mind on the form of the Lord, then limb by limb, one should also fix one's mind between the eyebrows. Bhu or Midhe. And in this way, Lord says, one can attain me. So one can attain the Lord. So this is the 10th. Then Arjuna has a question. After hearing this explanation of Krishna. My dear Lord, just by your meditation, you are mentioning that yogis should concentrate prana on Agya Chakra. I can understand this yoga. What is the manner of doing this yoga? What should be chanted? Upon what should one meditate? What is to be obtained by this yoga? Please explain briefly. And then in the next 3 verses, Krishna would explain. 11, 12, 13. Yadakcharam veda vido vadanti visanti yat yatayo vitaragaha yat ikchantu brahmacharyam charanti tatte padam sangrahena pravakshe. Please read the translation.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practice celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation.
Yes. So in this way, Lord says, so Padam Sangrahena, along with the methods of attainment, what one does is they chant Omkar Aksharam. So they meditate on that. They practice celibacy, etc. Okay, so this purport is pretty good purport. Okay. Fine, we'll take 13th purport. So here Prabhupada is essentially what he has spoken is that one has to remain brahmachari or practice celibacy, chant Omkar, practice Satsakri Yoga, etc., which we have briefly had discussed. And then one can attain salvation. So the whole process. So already we had talked about the process. Now in 12 and 13, again Krishna is going to tell more detail about the process. Sarvadvarani samyamya manohidi niruddhacha murdhini adhyatmana pranam asthito yogadharanam. Please read the translation.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
So what can we do? We'll read one more verse, then I'll together take the method of yoga. Om ati ekaksharam brahma vyaharan mamanusmaran ya prayati tajandeham sayati paramam gatim. Please read this translation also and purport also, both.
Still being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters. If one thinks of the supreme personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets. Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. It is clearly stated here that Om, Brahman and Lord Krishna are not different. The impersonal sound of Krishna is Om, but the sound Hare Krishna contains Om. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is clearly recommended for this age. So if one quits his body at the end of life chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, he certainly reaches one of the spiritual planets. According to the mode of his practice, The devotees of Krishna enter the Krishna planet, Goloka Vrindavana. For the personalities, there are also innumerable other planets, known as Vaikuntha planets, in the spiritual sky, whereas the impersonalists remain in the Brahma Jyoti. Hare Krishna.
In this way, what person does is Sarvadvarani Samyamya. One withdraws the openings of senses from external sense objects. That means one doesn't see, one doesn't hear, one doesn't smell, one doesn't eat. So all the 9 gates and all the senses, one closes. No engagement with sense gratification. Confining mind to the heart with no desire for other objects. Even in the mind, one doesn't think of sense gratification. It is concentrated on the region of heart, where soul and super soul are situated. So one who just meditates on soul and super soul. Fixing pran between the eyebrows, murdhani, yoga dharanam, and one takes complete shelter of the Lord, no shelter of anything else. No food, no water, no other living entities, no relatives. It's complete shelter of the Lord. And one chants the syllable Om, which is the form of Brahman, Omkar. And in this way, continuously one meditates on Supreme Lord, Ma Manusmaran. In this way, if person leaves his body, then one will get Paramam Gatim. What is that Param Gatim? One can get Salokya. One can enter in the kingdom of God. So this is whole process of Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Now Krishna has talked about Yoga Mishra Bhakti. Again, he'll come back to Yoga Mishra Bhakti at the end to show that how it's so much dependent on the time, place, circumstances. Now Krishna will compare Yoga Mishra Bhakti with Suddha Bhakti, pure devotion service. That is the reason I showed you that chart, and I told that now all the people should memorize that chart so that it becomes easy to decipher. So from 14th verse onwards, now Krishna is comparing. Till now Krishna talked about Yoga Mishra Bhakti, now he will compare with the Suddha Bhakti. So how Suddha Bhakti is so easy? Ananya cheta satatam yomam smarti nityasa tasyaham sulabham partha nitya yuktasya yogenaha. Please read the translation.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
So here Krishna is saying, Tassaham Sulabham. Sulabham is easily obtainable. So if you go in Mayapur, you have Sulabh kitchen. Sulabh kitchen means very easily you can get prasad there. No, we don't have to pay so much. So Sulabha. So similarly, this Keval Bhakti or Suddha Bhakti, Ananya Cheta. Ananya means no karma, no gyan, no yoga, nothing. Ananya. So with that Ananya Cheta, one constantly remembers the Lord, then Lord is very easily obtainable. So that is Suddha Bhakti is very easy. It's not difficult. So it's very easy, and at the end we will see by comparing with Yoga Mishra Bhakti how it is very fast also. So Lord says, such a person doesn't worship devatas or anyone, he doesn't desire swarga, moksha, anything, then it's called Ananya Cheta. He doesn't think of anything except Krishna. But how frequently? Nityasa. Nityasa means every day. Not that one day you are devotee of Krishna, next day you become devotee of Durga. Not like that. Or no, here one go to Mayapur and he's devotee of Lord Chaitanya. One goes to Vrindavan, he's devotee of not devotee of Jai Mata Di, not devotee of Durga. Not like that. So only Krishna, and that too daily. And from daily one should try to make it constant, satatam. So one may begin with nityasa, but one should end up in or aspire for at least satatam all the time remembering Krishna. And not depending on appropriate time, place, person, purity. Because especially when it comes to Bhagavad Vidhi of chanting, hearing, there's no rules and regulations. So one can do it all the time also. So somebody does that, what happens is, Tassaham Sulabha Partam. One can easily obtain Krishna by his bhakti. So yoga, jnana and other processes, to the degree they are mixed in bhakti, they create difficulties. If it is pure bhakti, it's very easy. So practicing pure devotion service is not difficult. Practicing pure devotion service is easy. So we should remember that. So Nitya Yuktasya. So this person performing bhakti yoga, he develops relationship with the Lord in Dasa Bhakti, Sakaras and other relationships. So it becomes very easy. And I have personally seen also devotees who are a little complex, they get into complexities. But simple people, they just surrender to Krishna. To the degree they surrender to Krishna, life becomes very, very easy also. So if you remember, I have mentioned many times, even the devotees who were brahmacharis, they wanted to change this, that. I have seen that journey had been pretty smooth. So materially speaking, I was also puzzled that now how these people will get settled. But then the journey was pretty smooth. So anybody who takes shelter of Krishna, Krishna takes care of rest of the things. To the degree we are caught up in complexities, we have a lot of faith on other things. To that degree, things are complex. So dependence on Krishna makes things very easy. Now somebody may ask, fine, what is the use of attending you? What happens to the person who attends you? So Arjuna was having similar question in his mind. What happens to the person who attends you? So what happens? Krishna tells in text number 15. Mamopetya punarjanma dukhalyam asasutam napnuvanti mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gata. Please read translation.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. Hare Krishna.
So what happens to such people? They don't take birth again in this world, in the place which is Dukhalayam. Dukhalayam means abode of misery. Like Himalaya, the abode of him is ice. Pustakalaya is the abode of books, place where book is found or is found. Similarly, this world is Dukhalayam. This is the abode of misery. And somebody may say, I'm comfortable, then it is temporary. Asaswatam. So you can't be permanently happy. So in this way, person is not born, but even if, let us say, he is born again, he is born in the place where Lord is performing pastimes. Just like a training period before going back to the spiritual world. So wherever Lord is performing pastime, one may go there, get trained by the eternal associates of the Lord, and then later on leave the body and go back to Godhead. So such a person gets eternal life. So they become eternal associate of the Lord. They are no more bound by karma. So paramam siddhim. So they get highest perfection of life, of becoming assistant in the pastimes of the Lord. One gets a opportunity to assist in the pastimes of the Lord. So no more service of senses. Service of Krishna. We get service of Krishna. So this shows that how Keval Bhakti is superior to other types of Bhakti. And for other people, they have to take birth in this world again. So Krishna tells another benefit of attaining Krishna's abode. Brahma bhavana loka punaravrito arjuna mamapityetu konteya punarjanmana vidyate. Please read translation.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery where
wherein repeated birth and death take place, but one who attains my abode, or son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So in this way, so even if somebody has great punya, great piety, one has to be born again. But as far as devotees are concerned, there is no rebirth for the devotees. Even the inhabitants in Brahma's planet are Brahma Bhuna Loka. Now, they have to take birth. But devotees of Krishna, they don't have to take birth. So then Arjuna says, no, but I heard that no, in Brahma Loka, there is no fear, no one dies there, this, that. So then Krishna now tells that no, even Brahma's abode is also temporary. So he gives calculations now from text number 17 onwards. Sahasra Yoga Parayantam Ahar Yad Brahmano Viduhu Ratrim Yoga Swahasrantam Te Aho Ratra Vidojana. Please read translation.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
Actually speaking, we had I think discussed about this before also, Vedic timeline. We discovered Vedic timeline here in this class.
Yes, Prabhu. One time we discussed, you showed a slide on the Brahma's life.
Okay. Same thing is there. I'll just show quickly again. So very quickly we'll just see. So same thing is mentioned in the purport. Kali Yuga is 4.32 lakhs years. Dwapar Yuga double, Treta Yuga 3 times, Satya Yuga 4 times. So Chatur Yuga or Vidya Yuga is 43.2 lakh years. One Kalpa is equivalent to Brahmaji's 12 hours. There's 100 Chatur Yugas. And that is also called 14 Manvantars. Why this Manvantar period is so much mentioned? Because that's the duration of cabinet of demigods. Demigods' position changes 14 times in one day of Brahma. Manvantar, Manodeva, Manuputra, Sarisara. So different positions are there. So one Manvantar is 100 by 14 Chatur Yugas. That's 71 Chatur Yugas. There's a duration of demigods' rule. So Indra, Chandra, Vayu, Varun, etc. They keep on changing after each Manvantar. So Brahmaji's 24 hours is double of 12 hours. That's 100 into 60.4 lakhs. 1 year is this much. Like that, Brahmaji stays for 100 years. So his age is 311 trillion 40 billion years. So that's the age of Brahma. But still, main thing is he has an age also. So those who are in Brahma Loka, after the age of Brahma, they enter in the body of Brahma and then they merge into the body of Mahavishnu. So like that, they also have to die. But this particular annihilation which Krishna is talking about is at the end of Brahma's night. So there are 4 types of annihilation. One annihilation is a continuous one. Every moment we are changing bodies. Every moment we are changing bodies. We can't bring the body which was just at the beginning of the class also. Body has changed. Second annihilation happens at the end of day of Brahma. So Lord Sesa, who is carrying all the planets on his head, on his hoods, his eyes are always very red. Why? Because he's so angry that all these rascals, they are not becoming devotees. Our devotees from Puram go and distribute them Bhagavad Gita. Please take Bhagavad Gita, please take Bhagavad Gita. They don't take. They call them for the program. These fellows don't come only. So Lord Sesa becomes very angry. His eyes are red. And at the end of day of Brahma, his anger goes out of control. So a great fire emerges from his mouth, beginning from Patal Loka, and it goes till Swarga Loka. Destroys everything. Destroys everything. So in this way, at that time, as Swarga Loka people also, they feel heat, they go to Mahar Loka. But the point is, all the people are destroyed, and then they stay in the near Garbhodaksha Vishnu at that time. They stay at the so this is called annihilation at the end of day of Brahma. So the second one. Third one is the annihilation, which happens at the end of life of Brahma. So at that time, Mahavishnu breathes in, everything is destroyed. And fourth one is the actual annihilation for the living entity. When one gets rid of the subtle body and goes back to Godhead. That's the actual annihilation for the living entity, which all of us should await for. So there are 4 types of annihilation. Okay, so I think it's called Atantiki, which is happening continuously, called Nitya Pralay. So like the names are there. So this annihilation is at the end of day of Brahma. So Krishna will talk about it. Avekta vyaktaya sarva prabhavanti ahar agame ratri agame praliyante tatre va vyakti sangike. Please read the translation.
At the beginning of the Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
So they perish of the day of Brahma into the oblivion, in the sense that they sleep in the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu. So the other elements remain intact because it's only end of light of Brahma. And then from sleeping state, when Brahma wakes up, again he has to create up to Sargaloka. Because these are the place of enjoyment for different living entities. So Brahmaji creates again. He creates their bodies, and then they get new bodies again. Again night comes, again annihilation. So in this way, there is bhutva praliyate. There is annihilation, creation, annihilation. This keeps on going on. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo avyakto avyakta sanatana yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nesatsu navisanasati. Please read translation. I think I forward 19th.
19.
Yeah. Bhutagrama sa evayam bhutva praliyate ratri agame avasha partha prabhavati ahar agame. Read translation.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
So all moving, non-moving living entities, Bhutagrama, what happens? They appear, disappear, appear, disappear. Creation, annihilation, creation, annihilation. 12 hours of Brahma, of day, creation, night time, annihilation. So again, there is creation, annihilation. But compared to this place, there is another place where there is no creation, no annihilation. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo avyakto avyakta sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nasyatsu navinasati. Read translation.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to the manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
Yeah. So superior to that state of dissolution, to Hiranyagarbha Brahma, superior to what has been described so far, Parastasmat Avyaktat, is another state which is cause of Hiranyagarbha, which is unmanifest. So I'll just explain this one by one. So that place is Sanatana. So Parastasmatu Bhava Anyo, Bhava means where there's again birth, this material nature. Avyakto Avyakta Sanatana. So there's a place which is unmanifest, from where or which is from where even Hiranyagarbha comes. Hiranyagarbha basically means Garbhodaksha Vishnu, or sometimes Brahma. So he also comes from there. So that place is not annihilated when this world is annihilated. And what is that place? That spiritual world, Sanatana, which has no beginning, no end. So Krishna compares, he is encouraging living entities by medium of Arjuna, please come to spiritual world. This place is a place of constant dissolution and manifestation. So that place is not annihilated. Okay. Again, he further describes about that particular place. Avyakto akshar iti uktastam ahu param mam gatim yam prapna nivartante tad dhama paramamama. Read translation as well as purport. Beautiful purport.
That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode. Purport. Shall I continue reading purport?
Yes. Please.
Supreme abode of the personality of God at Krishna is described in the Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dhama, a place where all desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavana, is full of palaces made of touchstone. There are also trees called desire trees that supply any type of eatable upon demand. And there are cows known as Surabhi cows, which supplies a limitless supply of milk. In this abode, the Lord is served by hundreds of thousands of goddesses of fortune, Lakshmis, and he is called Govinda, the primal Lord, and the causes of all causes. The Lord is accustomed to blow his flute, Venam Knavantam. His transcendental form is the most attractive in all the worlds. His eyes are like lotus petals, and the color of his body is like the color of the clouds. He is so attractive that his beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. He wears saffron cloth, a garland around his neck, and a peacock feather in his hair. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna gives only a small hint of his personal abode, Goloka Vrindavana, which is the supermost planet in the spiritual kingdom. A vivid description is given in the Brahma Samhita. Vedic literatures, Katha Upanishad 1.3.11 state there is nothing superior to the abode of Supreme Godhead, and that abode is the ultimate destination. Purushan na param kinchit sa kashta parama gatihi. When one attains to it, he never returns to the material world. Krishna's supreme abode and Krishna himself are non-different, being of the same quality. On this earth, Vrindavana, 90 miles southeast of Delhi, is a replica of the supreme Goloka Vrindavana located in the spiritual sky. When Krishna descended on this planet, he sported on that particular tract of land known as Vrindavana, comprising about 84 square miles in the district of Mathura, India.
So, Prabhupada describing out Vrindavan. So this avyakta is without destruction. So the abode of the Lord. So dham paramamama is the form of light. Okay. So one question was there. It starts with Satyuga. Yeah, it starts with Satyuga. Prabhupada asking. But this is after 100 cycles of Satyuga, Dwapar Yuga, Treta Yuga, and Kali Yuga. After that, it starts with Satyuga. So one has to wait for 12 hours of Brahma or more. Okay. So that is stored in the calculation. Okay. So then Arjuna has a question. No, not. Okay, fine. One more verse is there. Then there is a question. Purusa sa para partha bhaktya labhyasti ananyaya yasyanta stani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam. Please read translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. Hare Krishna Prabhupada.
Yeah. So Lord is clarifying now that, but this particular place can be obtained only through pure devotion service. So if you want to go back to Godhead, one has to practice pure devotion service. Especially he's talking about Golok Vrindavan. So Supreme Lord, who is just answer of Lord, can't be known by any other process like Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, etc. Only by Ananya Cheta Sattva. That means pure devotion service. Okay. Then Arjuna has a question that you told in text number 21, that anyone who attains you doesn't come back. But you have not talked about this devotee who is a Yogamishra Bhakta. So devotee is beyond gunas. Your path is beyond gunas. It's not a sattvic path. So I want to know the path by which this Yogamishra Bhakta obtains you. So again, Arjuna is talking about Yogamishra Bhakta. He wants to hear more about Yogamishra Bhakti. So Lord talked about the process, but he didn't specify more details about the path. So more details about the path, Lord is going to describe from text number 23 onwards. So again, he's coming back to Yogamishra Bhakti. So he talked about Yogamishra Bhakti, the process compared to pure devotion service. Now again, he's going to talk about Yogamishra Bhakti. More details. How it's so specific. It's so specific. So that we understand how pure devotion service is so easy. So 23. Yatra kale tu anavrittim avrittam chaiva yoginah paryata yanti tam kalam vakshami bharatar sabha. Please read translation.
O best of Bhartas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. Hare Krishna.
So I'll speak out the path column of return and no return. So after dying, from if one goes by one path, one will return, another path one will not return. So first Krishna is going to talk about the path of no return in text number 24. Once one goes, doesn't return. Agnir Jyotir Aha Sukla Sanamasa Uttarayanam Tat Parayata Gachanti Brahma Brahma Vedo Janaha. Please read translation.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fairy god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
So now we'll see. It is it's very, very specific time. First thing is Uttarayanam. That means only 6 months. Okay. So Uttarayanam. After that, it has to be Shukla Paksh. So you must be knowing that in every month there is Shukla Paksh and Krishna Paksh. 15 days of waxing moon is called Shukla Paksh. 15 days of waning moon is called Krishna Paksh. So it should not be Krishna Paksh, it should be Shukla Paksh. Now in Shukla Paksh also, now how many days are remaining? So already 6 months are gone. In that 50% is gone. That means only 3 months are remaining. I'm talking about time duration. In that also, aha means it should be daytime, not the night time. Somebody lives in night time, one will come back. So again, 50% gone. It's like, you can say 1.5 months. In that also, one has to see there should be presiding deity of the sun at that time. So these are very specific periods in which a yogi is supposed to live. Then one will not come back. So devotees, that's why for devotion service, it's very easy, pure devotion service. Yogamishra Bhakta, one has to be very specific. But even if somebody wants to go to heavenly planets through Ashtanga Yoga, that's path of return. Again, it is very specific. So that is explained in text number 25. Dhumo ratres tatha krishnaha sanamasa dakshinayanam tatra chandramasam yotir yogi prapya nivartate. Read the translation.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. Hare Krishna.
Such people generally they go to Sargaloka, they enjoy there and come back. So for them also they have to choose the Jakshanayan period. First thing. Second thing is it should be Krishna Paksh, not Shukla Paksh. Again, 6 months become 3 months. Then night time, not daytime, 1.5. And then also there has to be deity of smoke, Dhumo, which is prominent. Earlier it was Agnir. Agnir means predominant deity of Agni. That means fire god. Here the deity of smoke is there. So in their presence, then one can go to Sargaloka. So after such a tough practice, one has to leave the body at a particular time. That's why if you go to many places, like there is a place called Jabalpur in MP, some of you may know. So there is a place called Bena Ghat. So one of my brahmacharis friends is there from there. So he was telling that no, there are many yogis who stand at the top of the hill. They wait for the appropriate moment, and that time they fall from that hill so that they will die, and their skull will break open, and they will go to the desired destination. So very difficult, very difficult. Rather, one yogi wanted to leave body at a particular time. Somebody took a video and they say he's a madman. Or he's not a madman. He's a yogi who wants to leave at a particular time. So very tough. Devotees, they don't have to worry. Krishna worries. Krishna takes care. So pure devotion service is very easy. Yoga Misra Bhakti, very difficult. So there even a little bit of Misra is there, it becomes difficult. Prabhakar Prabhu is very worried. He's saying it is suicide. It's not like suicide because they don't die out of frustration. It's a planned death. So it's not like suicide. Suicide people want to leave body out of frustration, and here he has a greater, higher prospects are there. So it's done in knowledge, not in ignorance. Suicide is done in ignorance. Okay, so big difference. And then Krishna is summarizing now in 26. Sukla Krishna gati ete jagata sasvate mate ekya yati anavrittim ane yaya vartate punaha. Please read translation.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns. Hare Krishna.
So Krishna summarized, Sukle Krishna gati hi ete jagata sasvate mate. So this is the path of no return. Sukla Paks, Krishna Paks, passing at that time. Ekya yati anavrittim, anyavrittim puna. Another path is there where one has to come back. So these are two paths where one has to come back. One for coming back, one for not coming back. But when it comes to pure devotees, again, how do pure devotees see these two paths? Krishna tells in text number 27. Nete sriti parth janan yogi muhyati kaschana tasmat sarvesu kalesu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. Please read translation.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. Hare Krishna.
So knowledge of these two paths, it produces a sense of discrimination. But for devotee yoga yukta, whose mind is concentrated on the Lord, he is not bewildered. So for pure devotee who is practicing pure devotion service, he doesn't have to worry. Yoga Mr. Bhakta has to worry a lot. And somebody is practicing pure devotional service, he doesn't have to worry for anything. That Krishna is explaining in text number 28. How he doesn't have to worry for anything. Vedesu yagyesu tapassu chaiva danesu yat punna phalam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upayati chadyam. Please read translation.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Yeah, so that's why if somebody is practicing devotion service, whatever you obtain by reading Vedas, studying Vedas, performing sacrifices, going austerities, charity, this, that, anything, one is not bereft of all these results. One gets all these results and one gets one additional result also. What is the additional result? One gets to spiritual abode of Krishna. That's why somebody is practicing devotion service, he surpasses everything. He surpasses everything. So that's why devotees don't have to worry about other things, because many times devotee have a lot of questions. Prabhu, I was following this particular vrata before. What will happen if I don't follow it? Don't worry. You will not be death of any results. I have done this, I have done that. I promise this, I promise that. What will happen now? I promise this demigod, that demigod. Don't worry. Just take to pure devotion service, all the people are satisfied. So that's why devotee doesn't have to worry about anything. I think I didn't discuss 14th purport in detail. Yes. So 14th purport is important. Text number 14. So Ananya Cheta Satata. So devotees can read this 14th purport and then I'll explain a little bit about it. Text number 14, 8.14. Then we'll enter in chapter number 9. Anybody who is not tired, most of the devotees are looking very tired.
Purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Purport. The verse especially describes the final destination attained by the unalloyed devotees who serve the Supreme Personality of the Godhead in Bhakti Yoga. Previous verses have mentioned 4 different kinds of devotees: the distressed, the inquisitive, those who seek material gain, and the speculative philosophers. Different processes of liberation have also been described: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga. The principles of these yoga systems have some bhakti added, but this verse particularly mentions pure Bhakti Yoga without any mixture of Jnana, Karma, and Hatha. As indicated by the word Ananya Cheta, in pure Bhakti Yoga, the devotee desires nothing but Krishna. A pure devotee does not desire promotion to heavenly planets, nor does he seek oneness with the Brahmajyoti or salvation or liberation from material entanglement. A pure devotee does not desire anything. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the pure devotee is called Niskama, which means he has no desire for self-interest. Perfect peace belongs to him alone, not to them who strive for personal gain. Whereas a Jnana Yogi, Karma Yogi, or Hatha Yogi has his own selfish interest. A perfect devotee has no desire other than to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord says that for anyone who is unflinchingly devoted to him, he is easy to attain. A pure devotee always engages in devotional service to Krishna in one of his various personal features. Krishna has various plenary expansions and incarnations such as Rama and Narasimha, and a devotee can choose to fix his mind in loving service to any of these transcendental forms of Supreme Lord. Such a devotee meets with none of the problems that plague the practitioners of other yogas. Bhakti Yoga is very simple and pure and easy to perform. One can begin simply by chanting Hare Krishna. The Lord is merciful to all, but as we have already explained, he especially inclined towards those who always serve him without deviation. The Lord helps such devotees in various ways. As stated in the Vedas, Katha Upanishad 1-23, Yam Evaisa Prunite Tena labhyas tasyasya atma vrinute tanum swam. One who is fully surrendered and engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Lord can understand the Supreme Lord as he is. And as stated in Bhagavad Gita 10.10, Dadami Buddhi Yogam Tam. The Lord gives such a devotee sufficient intelligence so that ultimately the devotee can attain him in his spiritual kingdom. The special qualification of pure devotee is that he is always thinking of Krishna without deviation and without considering the time or place. There should be no impediments. He should be able to carry out his service anywhere and at any time. Some say that the devotee should remain in holy places like Vrindavan or some holy town where the Lord lived. But a pure devotee can live anywhere and create the atmosphere of Vrindavan by his devotional service. It was Sri Advaita who told Lord Chaitanya, wherever you are, O Lord, there is Vrindavan, as indicated by the words Satatam and Nityasya, which means always, regularly, or every day. A pure devotee constantly remembers Krishna and meditates upon him. These are qualifications of pure devotee for whom the Lord is mostly attainable. Bhakti yoga is the system that the Gita recommends above all others. Generally, the Bhakti yogis are engaged in 5 different ways. Santa Bhakta engaged in devotional service in neutrality. Jasa Bhakta engaged in devotional service as servant. Sakya Bhakta engaged as friend. Vasalya Bhakta engaged as parent, and Madhurya Bhakta engaged as conjugal lover of the Supreme Lord. In any of these ways, the pure devotee is always constantly engaged in the transcendental loving service of Supreme Lord and cannot forget the Supreme Lord. So for him, the Lord is easily attained. A pure devotee cannot forget the Supreme Lord for a moment. And similarly, the Supreme Lord cannot forget his pure devotee for a moment. This is the great blessing of Krishna conscious process of chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So what we want to focus on, that Prabhupada writes that pure devotee can transform any atmosphere into the atmosphere of Vrindavan. So Prabhupada speaks in one of the lectures that when I'm out of Vrindavan doesn't mean I'm out of Vrindavan. I'm always in Vrindavan, because I always carry Vrindavan in my heart. So you find by the process of Krishna consciousness how devotees who are staying in different countries, they also create Vrindavan-like atmosphere at those places. So you'll find different places. Prabhupada made new Vrindavan, new Dwarka. At different places Prabhupada had made. And some of the devotees, when I was giving class to devotees in Middle East, so they were telling that many of the people, they stayed near Vrindavan only. In Haryana, Delhi, all these places, they said we never became devotees. But now we came to Middle East, now we became devotees because we are experiencing Vrindavan here and as one of devotees. So that is how any place can be transformed into Vrindavan if one is practicing pure devotion service there. So Vrindavan is not just a physical place, it's also a state of consciousness. So certainly visiting Dham is considered one of the important things. But apart from that, it's a state of consciousness, Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. So that's how pure devotee, by his chanting, kirtans and all these processes, can transform any place into the place of pilgrimage. He can turn into Vrindavan. Bhavadivida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swambhu Tirthi Kurvandi Tirthani Swanta Stena Gadavrita. So Yudhishthira Maharaj tells Vidura that Bhavadivida Bhagavata Tirtha Bhuta Swambhu. Personalities like you are moving tirthas. We go to various holy places because Lord resides there, but Lord always resides in the heart of his pure devotees. That's why pure devotees are called walking tirthas. So people have to come to tirtha, but pure devotees are tirthas walking to people and going and preaching there. So that is how One can transform any place into a place of Vrindavan, place of pilgrimage. Okay, so in this way, Krishna has compared Yoga Mr. Bhakti. So earlier he was talking how devotees are the best. Among them also Ananya Bhaktas are best. Better than Karma Mr. Bhaktas, Gyan Mr. Bhaktas, Yoga Mr. Bhaktas. And now he is going to talk about Suddha Bhakti in chapter number 9 and 10. That's why among all scriptures, Bhagavad Gita is considered the essence. Sarvopnishato Gao Dugdha Gopala Nandana. Essence of cow is the milk. So similarly, Bhagavad Gita is that milk. Essence of Bhagavad Gita is there in the middle 6 chapters. And essence of middle 6 chapters is there in chapter number 9 and 10. And of course, among them, the Chatur Shloki Bhagavad Gita in 10.8 to 11, that's considered even more essence. But now we are going to enter in pure devotion service, Ananya Bhakti Yoga. So this chapter number 9 is also called most confidential knowledge, Ananya Bhakti Yoga. In this, we learn how majestic aspect of the Lord is required for one to make Lord as object of one's worship, which is very much suitable for Dasa Bhakti. So we'll learn that. We'll learn the excellence of pure devotion service, excellence of a pure devotee. And we'll see how Keval Bhakti is the most powerful among all types of Bhakti. Because Krishna will again compare to just highlight that how pure devotion service is the best. So in first 3 verses, Krishna is going to praise this Ananya Bhakti and the knowledge of Ananya Bhakti. How this knowledge of Ananya Bhakti is very confidential. Sri Bhagavan Vacha idam tu te guhitamam parvakshami anusuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yaj gatva moksha asabhat. Please read translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence." Hare Krishna.
So it says Guhyatamam. Guhyatamam is most greatest secret. Chapter number 2 to 6, they talk about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, which leads to liberation. So that's called Guhya Gyan. That's confidential knowledge. What is explained in just a minute, somebody is Haribol, I'm giving class. So just a minute, I'll just pause the recording and I'll come in. Let us continue. Some interruption in between. So, yes. So, Guhya. Chapter number 7 and 8 talk about Bhakti, Yoga Mr. Bhakti, Karma Mr. Bhakti, etc. So, that is called Guhyatara. Guhyatara means it's a greater secret. And chapter number 9 is talking about Guhyatama. It's talking about Suddha Bhakti. So, that's the greatest secret. That's the greatest secret. In this way, this particular knowledge Krishna is saying is a great secret. And now he's going to glorify that knowledge further. Raja Vidya Raja Goyam Pavitram Idam Uttamam Pradakshagamam Dharmam Suskam Kartam Avayam. Please read translation.
This knowledge is the king of education, so the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it is gives direct preparation of the self by realization. It is the perfection of realization. It is a everly sting, and it is joyful performed.
Everlasting and is joyfully performed. So although it's called knowledge, but it's a revealed knowledge. It's not an ordinary knowledge. So this knowledge of bhakti is Raj Vidya, it's king of all knowledge. So there may be different knowledge, but it's king of knowledge. But the knowledge about Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. And among all type of bhakti also it is the greatest secret, because it's not Mr. Bhakti, it's Suddha Bhakti. So Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam. That's why it's Raja, it's a king, at the same time it's very secret. And second thing is, characteristic is Pavitram Idam Uttamam. It is most purifying. It's most purifying in the sense that in general, why punishment is given? Like, do you know the modern name for the prison houses? Somebody knows the modern name for the prison houses? Somebody has ever gone to jail, not to, I'm not saying because you commit crime, but for any other purpose. Like I also went there for book distribution. Okay, devotee don't even look towards jail. Anyway, we are mental world is like jail. So it's someplace it's called correctional home, where the purpose of prisons is to correct the people. So punishment is given to correct the mentality of people. That is the main purpose of any prison house. So that's purifying, but more purifying than the punishment, either by police or by what we say, Yamdutas, is a process of karma kanda, in which one does atonement. That's more purifying. Because by the process of karma kanda, what happens is, some touch of Vishnu is there. Because of that, a person slowly comes to mode of goodness, and then one doesn't perform sins anymore. One is purified. So that's more purifying. Even more purifying than that is Gyan. Because in Gyan, one comes to much greater degree of mode of goodness. So Karma Yoga, Gyan Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, they are much more purifying. But then most purifying is pure devotion service. That's why the one who is performing pure devotion service, he doesn't have to do anything special for purification. What to do? Continue. That's why many times some devotees would commit big blunders also, and sometimes even break 40 principles. Prabhupada would just tell them many times to just continue practicing. Because there's nothing more purifying. What can be done? If there was anything more purifying, you could have given punishment if it was more purifying. But even punishment is not as purifying as pure devotion service. So pure devotion service is very purifying. One thing you can do is we can intensify the practice. So whatever reactions we have accumulated since unlimited lifetimes, we can imagine all those reactions, whatever types of impressions we have accumulated since so many lifetimes, they all are eradicated in one life. Such a magic. So that is how pure devotion service is extremely powerful. So the way we are getting transformed, we don't realize what we are getting. We don't realize how we are getting so purified. And in due course of time, you find even the other anarthas, they just go. Like, I can see my struggles at the beginning days of Krishna consciousness, and now things are like pretty comfortable. Not much push and pull from the mind.
Voice is break probably.
Yeah, I got disconnected in between. Yeah. So we were talking about purification. So I was telling that how now things are like so easy to practice. So after some time only, it takes few years, 15, 20 years of practice, and things become so easy. So that is how bhakti is so powerful, so purifying. So pavitram idam uttamam. And other thing is next quality is pratyaksha agamam dharmyam. Pratyaksha agamam means one can get direct realization. Direct realization means one can see that things are working in life. So there is a verse, Bhakti par isanavo viraktir anatra chaya satrke ek kalaha prapadyamanas yatha sastrasyu tushti pushti sudapayo anughasam. So three examples are given. Tushti, pushti, sudapayo. So as one takes food, if one is very hungry, one gets three things. Tushti means one gets satisfaction as one continues to eat. Pushti means one gets nourishment of the body. And sudapayo means one's hunger is removed. Similarly, as one practices devotion service, three things happen. Bhakti is satisfying to the heart. Devotion is satisfying to the heart. Par is anubhav. One can see Krishna's hand in one's life. How Krishna is orchestrating our whole life. And third thing is, not just one life, in all the phenomena of the world also. And virakti means detachment from the world is also gradually, it happens naturally. So all these three things happen as one practices devotion service. But main thing is it takes some time. It's like Vishwanath Thakur gives example. Not that you eat one rice and say, oh, is my hunger going away? At least eat one morsel of rice, then hunger will go away. So similarly, we need to have some patience, at least for a few years practice, and then we'll find that these things go away. So tushti, pushti, sudapayo, all these three things happen. So how they go away is given in Prabhupada quotes from Padma Puran. Aprarabdha phalam param kutam bijam phalonmukam kramaneva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So there are different types of reactions which get eradicated one by one. Prabhupada talks, has quoted this in purport. So I'll not go in detail because we'll discuss about these things in detail in NOD, Nectar of Devotion. And also it is dharmyam. Dharmyam in the sense that if one fails to perform all the dharmas, but one practices bhakti means everything is taken care. Tyakta sadharmam charanam bhujamarer bhajana pakvat patiteto yadi yatra kavabhadra buddha vishkem kovarta apto bhajatam sadharmata. That if one gives up all of the duties and takes to bhakti, where is the loss? Because at least one has begun one's journey towards spiritual abode of the Lord. So some people may become bhavak and practice bhakti for some time and go away, but at least he made some progress. Somebody does varnasam duties very nicely, but then take to bhakti. He has not moved on his road towards spiritual world. So what is the use? So dharmyam. And susukham kartamavyam. Unlike karma, jnana, yoga, bhakti is so easy. So easy. So easy that now, even if somebody is on the deathbed, one can practice. So during Corona period, we saw so many devotees having oxygen mask and this and that, and still they're chanting holy names. So that is how bhakti is so easy. Chanting of the holy names is so easy. One can practice at any time. So I also remember once when I was admitted in Vrindavan, Bhaktivedanta hospice. So hospice, many devotees thought I'm going to die. Actually, I was about to die. My blood platelets went around 16,000. So whole night they were testing and seeing that did I get any clot on the body? Doctors were coming and doing experiments with my body. And they were thinking maybe he'll die. So at that time also, I was getting all needles and syringes from left hand. I told to do it only left. Whatever you want to do with the left hand only, don't do with the right hand. And right hand I was just chanting. So then I was having a lot of gratitude that Lord is so merciful that even in such a tough circumstances we can practice bhakti. We can chant Hare Krishna. So that's how bhakti is so easy to perform. Su sukham kartum avyam. And avyam means it's eternal. Process of karma, jnana, yoga, they have to be changed at a point of time. One cannot practice karma, jnana, yoga in spiritual world. So one has to give here before entering in Brahman. But chanting Hare Krishna here is here also, it is there in the spiritual world also. So it's aware. So very beautiful verse. Okay. Visakha Mataji, Visakha Vishnu Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you said three things we will get in devotional service. Like one is detachment, one is we can see Krishna's hand, and another one.
Bhakti itself. Bhakti means that sentiment for the Lord. That's very satisfying. See, actually, many times we don't understand. In any relationship, ultimately, it's that emotional fulfillment which satisfies the heart. So I'm talking about something material, not even spiritual. What we get from Krishna is spiritual. But why do we have relationship with other people? Why we need different friends, relatives, or why people get married also? The main reason is we need some emotional fulfillment that is satisfying to the heart. Similarly, in bhakti also, we get some reciprocation from Krishna that is satisfying to the heart. So the bhakti itself, the devotion towards Krishna is satisfying to the heart. Okay.
Yeah. But sometimes we see devotees, maybe the senior one, they're practicing for so many years. But sometimes they go away or they get disturbed with the situation. So what is where we lack? Like what we can also, maybe we might also land up in the same situation and react like that. So where is the lacking point?
A lot of things are there which distract a person. And many times or most of the times it's association of non-devotees. So what happens is generally when we associate with outsiders, we get their value systems and then we become bewildered. So what happens is they may value things like money. We may think, oh, no, I should work hard for money. Why should I work here? Or outsiders, they work for fame many times. So then we come to Krishna consciousness and we think, oh, I'm working so hard. Other fellows are getting fame. I'm not getting fame. I'm not getting post position. That's why we should not be just in asana of devotees. Am I audible?
Yeah, Prabhu, your video is stuck.
So I'll change the network. I think I should remove it. Yeah. Now am I audible and visible?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. Yeah. So what happens is that's why we should be in asana of sincere devotees. Sincere devotees means na dhanam, na janam, na sundaram, kavitam, va jagadish kame. These are the sincere devotees. I don't want wealth. I don't want any followers. I don't want the pleasures of flesh and bones in the form of opposite sex. And I don't want a scholarship also. I just want to serve Krishna. So if we are in asanas of sincere devotees, then also we also get the desire to become sincere devotees who have no ulterior motives, just desire to please Krishna. So that's why undesirable association is the greatest cause of loss. So we should be sincere sadhakas. And we see if we are sincerely devotees or practicing it, it touches. Like I was telling last time, because all of us, we were chanting Ikshakra so nicely. Many devotees were there. I went to Ikshakra. Immediately person who was an atheist few days back or few years back, who never chanted, all these people they had chanted 20 rounds, 60 rounds, 64 rounds, also many devotees chanted. Even new people chanted 64 rounds on Ekadasi. Because all the devotees were chanting so sincerely, so that sincerely touches. It touches new people also. But this touch is not required just for new people, this is required for old people also. For us also. Many times what we think is this for new people, this for preaching. We also should preach ourselves by having a son of sincere devotee. So we have to be very careful about the type of association which we are in. So it's generally bad association which affects. Association creates a set of desires. Like if you stay somewhere, some devotees, they want a lot of fame. So then they will talk about, na, isme kitna hua, usme kitna follower bana, usme kitna bana, how many people viewed my this video and this and that, so many things. Then what happens is we also get that sort of desire. So certainly we can use things in Krishna service, but we have to be very careful not to get used. Let us say, if my viewership, etc., is going to help people to come closer to Krishna, then we should do. Otherwise, there is no use. Like at a point of time, many devotees were telling Prabhu, we'll promote you and this and that. I told, I don't have time to give to new people. Already I have 70, 80 people to take care. If you give me new people, I can't take care of them. I can't give them time to progress in devotion service. So let me focus on old people, and these people have an opportunity or a time for entertaining new people. Let them take care of new people. Why should I get just credit of getting so many followers in the name? So that's why even sometimes fame, it deviates devotees like anything. So one has to be very careful. That's why Raghunath Das Goswami would compare it to like a donkey urine, trying to bathe in the, trying to get fame. It's very alluring. So one has to be very careful just to be a simple devotee. So if we talk about Vrajavasis, you not find Vrajavasis being such a highlight. Now few Vrajavasis like Radharani, Asakhas, Sakis are very known, but ordinary Vrajavasis you may not know them. You may not find them even in the pages of Bhagavatam. So much name mentioned about them. But then if we are aspiring to become Vrajavasis, we should be ready to be a common man many times. Just be a common ordinary devotee. And many times that devotion touches the heart. Like I heard about one of the Vrajavasi, his whole life was dedicated just to see and sing songs about, he would sing songs about his ecstasies of sweeping the stairs of Barsana. And he left his body while sweeping the staircases of Barsana. I was thinking, what a death. That's the glorious death. People may not recognize him, but Radharani is recognizing him every day for his service. That should be our aspiration. So if we aspire for these things, that really touches the heart. So this bhakti, devotion, that devotion is very touching. So if we do for external things, we try to derive pleasure of sense gratification from external things. But if we just want to practice that devotion towards Krishna, whole world may know. See, world is known, that means we are aware of the world. We should be just worried about whether Krishna is seeing, not seeing, he is happy, not happy. That's such a personal justification. So that's actually called devotion, bhakti. I think I gave a very big elaboration. But sometimes we have to remind ourselves, because all of you are also practicing since so many years. So there are a lot of distractions, especially in the modern world. Because of gadgets and this and that. So many people they want to put their selfie as if they're Supreme Personality of Godhead and show to everyone, I went to this place and that place. Who cares where you went? So the point is, when you go to holy place, don't worry about selfie. You should worry about getting mercy of the Lord there. Offer prayers, chant intensely there, experience the ambience of the place and advance in Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, even after going in Dham and different places, we just remain so superficial. So we should try to go much deeper in the process of bhakti and experience that genuine devotion of Vrajavasis and other devotees also. Okay. So that should be our aspiration in life.
Okay. Prabhu, can you tell me the name of the devotee who left the body? Your voice was breaking that time.
No, I didn't tell the name because I don't remember the name because he was not so prominent.
Okay.
So in one yatra, I just saw his photograph, very small passport size photograph was there. They should try to show it in the big screen. And we just heard some name. But nobody much knew about him. Even within ISKCON also, there are devotees who are not much noticed. But we found them that no, they went back to Godhead. Like there was one devotee called Grahi Lila Prabhu. Hardly if anybody knew. What service he did? He made indexes. Like you find this index, general indexes there in every Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam. He did this service. But towards his last days, two of our brahmacharis, senior brahmacharis from temple, they went. And they were like massaging his feet. And that time he was telling to Janavas Prabhu what pastime Krishna is performing in Vrindavan at this particular point of time. And then while looking at the photograph of Radha Madhav, while devotees were chanting the holy names, he left his body. And his wife was so happy. She was dancing, back to Godhead, back to Godhead. Anybody will see such a death or departure, they will get, no, he is dead, people should cry. And all the devotees are having such a celebration. So the point is, not known person, nobody knew about him. But then he was happy with his service and Krishna was pleased with his service. He took him back to Godhead. So one doesn't have to be recognized to become a big devotee. Rather, the recognition is a distraction many times. So, unlimited devotees will find who are genuine devotees but not well known. Okay. It's already 9 o'clock. So we'll end here and we'll resume in the next week. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki, Shil Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Jesus.